Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar brought to you by Bossier Parish Community College and Meepaw. I'm your host, Kayla Gentry, the Manufacturing Outreach Manager from the Manufacturing Extension Partnership of Louisiana, or as we like to say, Meepaw. We're a couple minutes from starting the program. We're going to wait a few minutes to let others sign on. Today's topic is manufacturing apprenticeships in a virtual world with presentations by BIPSI, Louisiana Workforce Commission, and Bentler Steel and Tube. Manufacturing apprenticeships in a virtual world is the third webinar in a series of webinars over the next few weeks focusing on COVID-19 and business best practices. Please be on the lookout for upcoming webinars from us each month. As a participant, your audio will be in listen-only mode using your phone or computer, whichever is more convenient for you. During the webinar, there's an opportunity to ask questions using the question window. Add your questions there, and we'll address those as time allows at the end of the webinar. This is a live webinar event, which will be recorded. The recording will be made available on our YouTube channel in the next couple of days. So before we get started, like I said, we're going to wait just a few minutes. We've got a few more people popping on. All right, so it looks like we've got most of our attendees on. I'm going to go ahead and get started. So for those of you just joining us, my name is Kayla Gentry. I'm the Manufacturing Outreach Manager for Meepaw. I would like to give a little bit of information about the organization if any of you are unfamiliar with us. So the Manufacturing Extension Partnership is part of a national network under the National Institute of Standards and Technology that works with U.S. manufacturers to create and retain jobs, increase profits, save time and money, develop new customers, and expand into new markets. So as you can see by the map on the screen, by national network, we do mean that the MEP is located in every state, including Puerto Rico. Meepaw is also part of the Louisiana Community and Technical College System, or LCTCS. As such, we're better able to cover the state of Louisiana with project managers located at community colleges throughout the state. Bossier Parish Community College, as well as other community colleges throughout the state, offer apprenticeships, which help to meet the advanced needs of the manufacturing industry and produce a highly skilled and reliable workforce. The webinar today will be presented by a panel of speakers from both the college level as well as the workforce level. Michael Knaps, an apprenticeship training representative from the Louisiana Workforce Commission, and several presenters from Bossier Parish Community College, including Dr. Gail Flowers, Vice Chancellor for Economic and Workforce Development, Bionica Rutherford Frazier, Project Director for Work-Based Learning, and Nellie Zigbod, Project Director from Meepaw BIPSI. And I'll go ahead and I'll pass it over to our presenters, who are going to walk you through how manufacturers are partnering with BIPSI to develop the talent they need to thrive in today's competitive global markets. And let me go ahead and switch the screen over here.
Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us to learn more about work-based learning and apprenticeships at Bossier Parish Community College. I am Dr. Gail Flowers, Vice Chancellor for Economic and Workforce Development. We've had a couple of people that have had challenges in joining us today. Nellie is having some technical difficulties. We're hoping that she'll be able to sign on. And then Reginald Ferguson with Bentler Steel has had a family emergency that he is handling. I don't know if he will be able to join today or not, but you will have his contact information in case you would like to hear about it from an employer's perspective. He did assist with our planning and certainly with the apprenticeship implementation as well. Today we're going to talk about work-based learning. And work-based learning, as I think about it, is really a purposeful, strategic continuum that connects students with employers as they pursue a particular career field. In particular, we're going to talk about registered apprenticeships, and that provides a sequenced, coordinated, and collaboratively determined and supervised real workplace setting. One of the things that I think about with work-based learning is that you're at the very low end of connecting employers and students all the way to the very high end. If you look at this particular chart, you'll see that on kind of the low end, we're creating awareness, then we're creating opportunities for career exploration, and then really we move into preparation for a career with workplace learning that is more connected and purposeful and strategic. But today we're going to be focusing on registered apprenticeships. And if you would participate in the poll to let us know what kinds of work-based learning experiences you're currently involved in.
Okay, and all of you should see a poll on your screen. If you want to go ahead and start answering that, you should be able to, if you would make your screen, maximize your screen, you should be able to see that.
And select all that apply.
Yes, and I'm going to allow a little bit of time for you guys to fill that out.
When we talk about work-based learning on the highest end, where you have the highest level of student and employer involvement, business leaders are really involved because they need a pipeline of skilled workers that would take their companies to the next level. At the national, state, and regional level, we really see increased availability of funding to help support this because it's a recognized and proven strategy for talent development.
Okay, and Gail, I've got most answered internship, paid or unpaid. 46% answered field trips, 85% answered career fairs, 31% answered job shadowing, and 31% answered apprenticeship.
Excellent. So you're already involved at many levels. And that's good because you have already been seeing the benefits of connecting students with employers, and registered apprenticeships really take that to the next level.
Hi everyone, my name is Michael Knaps and I'm with Louisiana Workforce Commission. So what is an apprenticeship, or specifically a registered apprenticeship? So it's a federal workforce development strategy that pairs employment or on-the-job training with related technical instruction or the classroom training that they can apply on the job. Apprenticeships are comprised of a set of hours, competencies, or a combination of the two, known as hybrid. And going through this training, it develops a fully proficient worker in their given occupation. It's administered on the state level here in Louisiana by the Louisiana Workforce Commission, as we operate as a state apprenticeship agency. And there are 5 components to registered apprenticeship. The first being employer involvement. So this is crucial because with on-the-job training being the driving force for registered apprenticeship, without employers, you really can't have a program. And then this leads to structured on-the-job training, which is the portion of employment of the registered apprenticeship. It can vary between 1 to 6 years, depending on the occupation, and they typically average 2,000 hours in 1 year. Louisiana requires a 1-to-1 mentor-apprentice ratio on the job to make sure that safety measures and proper learning is set in place. The third component of registered apprenticeship is that related training and instruction. A requirement for Louisiana, we have a minimum of 144 hours of classroom instruction for each year of on-the-job training. And rewards for skill gains, apprenticeship programs are required to have progressive wage schedules throughout the program. And these are based off of what we refer to as the journey worker wage. And that is the wage that the apprentice will be making once they complete the program. During the program, their pay is set on a percentage of this journey worker wage. And as they go through, demonstrate competencies and improve their skill set, their salary increases to match that. And then finally, the National Occupational Credential. So once an apprentice completes their program, our office will issue them a nationally recognized completion certificate, and that will validate that this individual completed their apprenticeship program, that they're proficient in their occupation, and this credential is portable and stackable.
Hi, my name is Bianca Rutherford Frazier, and I am the Project Director for Work-Based Learning and Apprenticeships at Bossier Parish Community College. Reggie Ferguson is with us on the webinar. I'm not sure if he'll be able to be unmuted so he can, share this slide with me. But I'm going to talk today about why you should partner with FIPSI or your local community college and the manufacturing extension partner. One is funding. Partnering with the registered apprenticeships helps community colleges become more eligible for grants and financial support for training and education programs. Typically, if you partner with your college and we get a grant, we're able to, buy state-of-the-art equipment, use the funding for all kinds of different things. I actually am supported by federal funding. Well, not federal funding, but state funding that helps with the apprenticeship program. Next, the academics. Community college collaboration enhances the academic aspect of the apprenticeship. So all of the related technical instruction is done at the community college, and it really allows us to collaborate more fluidly, add and delete classes, which typically on a community college level, it takes a lot of time to do that. And with the collaboration, we're able to do that a little bit more seamlessly. Retention. Partnerships between community colleges and registered apprenticeship programs aid in recruitment, which leads to higher retention rates, increased productivity, and it also provides a strong return on investment for employers because you're training this individual from the very beginning of their career until they're ready to hit the floor. And you can actually train them in several different areas of your institution, your organization, so that they're very well-rounded. I'll move over to talent development. Registered apprenticeships is a proven talent development strategy. It supports the economic development goals and activities of most communities and areas. Recruitment is over at the top. Community college partnerships offer an exceptional opportunity for high school, youth, and community college students to move from traditional education programs that focus on general education to highly specialized on-the-job career training options. So students, high school students typically are unsure about what they want to do, what type of work they want to do. So this will kind of get them, this will definitely move them out of that area of, not knowing what they want to do and putting them directly on a career path so that they know when they finish college what type of work they'll do.
And in thinking about each of these, if you'd complete the poll question. about which is most important to you. Kayla, if you could put that up, yeah.
Okay, and I've got the poll question up now. Sorry about that. What is your number one priority when it comes to the support you want from your training sponsor? Recruitment, retention, training, funding, or talent development? And please go ahead and put your answers in there. And I'm just going to give it another minute here for you guys to answer the poll. We've got 38% of you who voted so far. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and close the poll, and I'm going to try to share the results here. We've got most of you who said that funding would be your number one priority, followed by training, recruitment, and then talent development. Okay.
Good to know. Okay, so moving to the next slide is steps to developing an apprenticeship program. The first step is you as an employer would assess apprenticeships as a solution. You would determine, you know what, I think we want to train up our workforce or do some talent development using our incumbent workers. And you decide that you want to use apprenticeships, and that's a solution for you. The next step is you would come to us at the community college system, and we work, of course, in collaboration with the state office. And we'll get together and start making plans to go forward, submitting a request to the state to let them know what we're going to do. The third step is the employer and BIPC and MEPAL will design an apprenticeship program that works for your organization. That's one of the greatest things about the program is it is driven by the employer. You decide what you want it to look like. Of course, the related like technical instruction, the degree plans are set, but you decide what you want it to look like. Do you want to do a hybrid program? Do you want to do one that's time-based? Do you want to do a competency-based? Whatever suits your employment needs. The fourth step is the employer and BIPC will recruit and launch. So we will work to recruit students, to recruit employees, whatever your needs are. We do career fairs, whatever it takes to help you get the right candidates in place. And once we have that set, we launch the program. Typically, the program is launched at the beginning of a semester, typically a fall semester, because that gives us a clean beginning and end. But that's typically how it would go. And the end result, of course, you'll have well integrated employees, and they'll be trained specifically to the needs, the skills that you need.
Yes, and there are several different types of apprenticeship models out there. Here you see several categories, and the model that BIPC has chosen to use is highlighted here in red. So as a sponsor, you can either be a college, a joint sponsor, an industry association. BIPC is taking on the role as the program sponsor, meaning that they're handling all the administrative tracking of all the apprentices. The type of certification that you can incorporate. Here you see various industry-based certifications, associates, and the DOL certificate of completion. So Bossier Parish Community College is incorporating all three of these types of certificates in their program. The completion registered apprenticeship approach that they've chosen to go with for their current occupation is competency-based. So that means that apprentices go through the program at their own pace, depending on when they meet certain competencies, when they're evaluated, and when they're deemed ready to move on to the next level. And then finally, the type of registration, or whether or not a program is registered or not. Bossier Parish Community College is registered, which means they've gone through our office and they're currently following all the state and federal regulations required in order to be considered a registered apprenticeship program.
Next, we'll talk a little bit more about the college and the employer partnership. And so there's a cool little Venn diagram here that shows what that partnership looks like. I'll discuss what Bossier Parish Community College does, and then Nellie will talk about the employer perspective. So we administer the program, just like Michael said. We handle all the administrative paperwork. We write the standards up. We, take a lot of notes. We keep track of the students, and just pretty much handle all of the human resources pieces of the apprenticeship program. We help to, we register the students on the national database as well as with the state of Louisiana. We also are responsible for awarding the college education. So any industry-based credentials that are gained along the way, we make sure that they're able to test and gain those in a timely fashion, which goes along with their competencies. And then we also award the associates of the Applied Associate of Science degree, and our students get one in industrial technology. And we handle any of the correspondence between the Department of Labor and the state office, and we also maintain records.
Good afternoon. My name is Nelly Sichwart. I am the project manager at Bossier Parish Community College for MEPOL. And I apologize for my technical difficulties this afternoon. The internet went out and I had to go to my phone to join. So I will tell you about the employer portion. The employer interviews and accepts students into the program. They provide financial support for the students, which includes being paid for their work at the company, as well as for the schooling of the student. Then the employer tracks attendance for the program and drives the program, which Bionica has already touched on that aspect. It means that the employer decides what they want the program to look like, from choosing the occupations, courses for the students, training, what competencies should be developed as part of the program. And as part of that, there is a competencies checklist, and they also decide how many hours they would like to allot to each of those items on the list. And then they also provide on-the-job training.
And together we do training and planning. There are things that with training that we do that is part of their curriculum in the college. And then they also do some training that's not necessarily on the job, but in our technical training space on our campus. So they, may do some welding that's not a part of the course curriculum, but is part of their apprenticeship program. So we do support, we work together to make sure those things happen. Also planning with this, we work together. Of course, the employer decides what they want their students to take, but we sit together and help, schedule. Scheduling is kind of difficult. It can be, so that's where we really have to put our heads together and make sure that we put together the best schedules for the students. Advising, this is kind of the same thing with scheduling. It's choosing their academic classes. Development and support, we work together from the beginning to the end on how we're going to develop the program we want to launch. All the decisions, even though the employer makes those decisions, we support them 100%. And supporting the students, we both provide support to the students. They, they can come to me for anything they need. They also have full access to all of the benefits of the college campus. So we have a new thing that we're very excited about. It's called the Cavalier Care Center, where our apprentices have full access to things like that, and the learning commons and tutorial sessions and everything that any other student would need.
Then the steps that a student has to go through to join an apprenticeship program at BIPC is: one, they must complete high school. Then they have to complete ACT WorkKeys assessments. And in case you're not familiar with those, to give you some background information, is that by completing those assessments, one earns what's called a National Career Readiness Certificate. And the assessments, it's 3 of them, and they are in the areas of applied math, graphic literacy, and workplace documents. And they measure a person's aptitude for understanding and learning in those areas. And depending on how a student does, they can learn, they can earn 1 of 4 levels of certification, which it starts with bronze and then to silver, to gold, to platinum. And the higher a level of certification they achieve, the more likely they would be to successfully acquire skills in those areas and related areas. And that represents an additional tool that employers would have at their disposal to evaluate applicants. And then to get back to the slide, the next step would be to apply to BIPSI for both the academic courses as well as the apprenticeship program. And they also have to apply an interview with the employer.
And so after they've done those steps and gotten accepted into the program, this is kind of the cycle of the registered apprenticeship program. So here are the components. First, they will have classroom training at the college. They're going to go to class. They will have to sit for the theoretical portions of the courses, the lecture, and they'll do their labs. They'll do that all on campus. Right now, they're doing a lot of that virtually. There are some hybrid classes that for the highly technical skills like motor controls and things like that, but they'll do that at the college. Next, they'll have their technical hands-on training, which is sometimes can be done on the job, but mostly it's things like the things that go along with their courses, their labs. They'll do that at the school. And then we also have a Center of Advanced Manufacturing that has a lot of innovative equipment and tools for students to use. And so they work in their industrial bay and they do a lot of hands-on training there. Then of course they do their on-the-job training. So they're matching whatever they're working on in class, whatever their curriculum is, whatever courses they're working on. They're going into the lab, the technical training labs, and they're getting those hands-on skills. And then their employers give them opportunities to apply that in the workplace. And so Bentler Steel, they work on projects throughout the process. So the skills that they're learning in class, and they learn how to do it, the technical skill in the technical labs, and then they're expected to perform some type of project that they're working on at work. And then of course, after the series of this, and they would complete and they would graduate. They would graduate from the college and they would get an associate's degree, and they would also be a journeyman apprentice in the 2 positions.
And prior to us starting with the registered apprenticeships, there was a lot of discussion in our community. Our workforce development boards and our economic development organization led focus groups of manufacturers to discuss their talent development needs, the political environment that they were facing, the technology and structural needs that they had. And Bentler and other manufacturers in our area were at the table to help define, discuss, and reflect their needs. And so when we think about talent development, Bentler, as many of others in our area indicated, that their top priority needs were industrial maintenance tech and electrical tech. And I'm going to ask you, as Bionica talks about each of these, to think about the occupations in your company where you would need an apprenticeship, because after she speaks, you'll have a short poll to complete.
So we'll go into, we'll go into the 2 occupations that we apprentice right now. First, industrial maintenance technician. The industrial maintenance technician is more on the mechanical side of maintenance. It's very similar to a mechatronics tech. That's a new term for that. In that program, they're going to learn machine controls, production processes, quality assurance, a little bit of machining, CNC, things like that. Of course, we work with a couple of different employers, and so they may have a specific brand of equipment that they work on, and we make sure that the students are able to explore and learn with the type of equipment that's utilized on the job. The industrial maintenance tech is pretty much an all-around person. They can they're an all-rounder in metalworking and professions. They learn welding and things like that, bending. They also will be able to do maintenance and inspections of technical systems. They do troubleshooting a lot. They also do troubleshooting and repair of complex systems. And so with the courses, they learn, how to problem solve and to think critically. They take, industrial maintenance classes in electricity and semiconductors and all of these things to make sure that they're well-rounded and they'll be a good employee and a good industrial maintenance tech. The other occupation is the electrical technician. The electrical technician is one that we're always looking for more students to go into this program. It's also one that's very popular because it's highly automated. And we know right now that a lot of companies are using systems that are completely automated. So these guys are highly sought after. In this program, they'll learn maintenance and electrical systems. They'll also learn monitoring and testing power installations, notification and communication systems. They also go in depth into PLCs, which they do PLCs in the industrial maintenance tech program as well, but in the electrical technician, I think they go up to a third level in PLCs. And they also do, they analyze faults and repair complex systems. Something interesting about the apprenticeship program is that when we started offering the industrial maintenance program, our academic side saw that there was so much interest in this program that they took it before their advisory board, and this is now a concentration in our industrial technology associate's degree program, and it is the most popular one now. And that happened over the course of a year. And I think because it is it produces a well-rounded employee. You've got a pretty good skill set and you can do a little bit of everything. So I'm very proud of that. I wish Reggie was able to talk a little bit more in detail about the skills, but if you ask questions, maybe he'll be able to participate in.
But now is the time to think about the occupations that you need so that you can complete the poll before we go to the next slide.
Okay, and I've launched the poll now. What occupation represents your greatest need? Industrial maintenance technician, electrical technician, welder, machinist, or supervisor?
And
And
if
if
it's
you
something
go
other
ahead
than that,
and
you can put it in the chat.
okay, I've got about 30% of you who have voted. If the rest of you could go ahead and cast your vote. Gonna give it a couple more seconds here for the rest of you to get your vote in. Okay. And it looks like most of you are, we have a tie for welder and electrical technician. The machinist, 22% of you represented that as your greatest need, and industrial maintenance technician, it looks like 11%.
Very good, that's good to know. We do not have a registered apprenticeship program within our welding program, but we have done some paid internships with welders, and we operate that somewhat the same way. It's a lot more flexible and it's a lot shorter, but we do go through the process of coming up with a plan, meeting with the employer and letting us know how they want the program to go. And then we decide on a competency checklist that mirrors our curriculum that that we do in the community college. That way we make sure that the students are learning the theoretical side, and then they can go and do that on the job. But that's very good to know about the electrical technician.
So this slide shows some of the skills that the programs just mentioned provide or teach students. And some of them Bionica has already mentioned. Example, and these skills are transferable, which means that these skills continue to serve the apprentice as he or she moves forward in their career. And obviously, this is a limited list. So some of the specific technical skills are electric motors, PLC programming, welding and machining. And as the apprentice learns that knowledge set and gains the experience, they obviously become a valuable employee as they are able to perform at higher levels, and as time goes on they would be able to train other employees, and as they may move into leadership positions they are knowledgeable about the process they're supervising. And then some of the fundamental STEM related skills include physics, algebra, material science, industrial graphics. And these form a foundation for the apprentice that really allows them to learn new skills on the job, which is inevitable. And then some of the more general fundamental skills include problem solving, public speaking, microeconomics. And these cross many parts of the job, and these are skills that allow the apprentice to be a more effective and more successful employee overall. And the benefit is also that these skills apply in their personal life as well, and allow them to be more successful there too.
In our division, we are constantly working to transform businesses and individuals through economic and workforce development solutions. And so as we're interested in benefits for our apprentices and benefits for our employers, we also know that we're growing and developing our economy. And that's very important to us. Our apprentices have the opportunity to learn as they're earning, which matters to them and makes their learning significant and meaningful. They acquire nationally recognized and portable credentials, as you've heard mentioned previously. They improve the skills and competencies that they have, but they also retain them longer because they're actually applying them immediately in a meaningful environment. They do increase, Michael discussed earlier, their wages as their skills are increasing, and they have the opportunity to advance within their career. They're getting those foundation skills, the technical skills that make them highly desirable employees for their current position and then for future opportunities for advancement. And we know that this is very important. I serve as chair for our United Way locally, and last week we released statewide the ALICE report. And if you're not familiar with that, ALICE stands for Asset Limited, Income Constrained, and Employed Individual. And of course, those are often the students that we serve in the community and technical college. But Bionica, our only one, will put up the link in the chat to these reports because you can pull and look at that for your region. And it gives you a lot of data about the students you serve and the needs that exist in your area. We know that where there's great need, there's great opportunity, and that opportunity allows us to grow our economy for all in a win-win situation where there are the benefits to the apprentices and the benefits to the employers that Michael's going to share.
Yes, so as far as benefits to employers, registered apprenticeship really helps develop a strong workforce by generating highly skilled and well-rounded employees following a structured on-the-job training outline, paired with the classroom curriculum. It reduces turnover rates with that progressive wage schedule. They're really earning a wage that is paired with their skill set. So as they're going through the program, they're getting rewarded for learning and becoming, stronger employees as far as their knowledge and their skill sets. Higher productivity. So as you're doing that, you're constantly growing your workforce. The more apprentices you bring on as cohorts, once they're done with the program and they know everything they need to know to do their job well, bring on additional apprentices. It's just allowing you to increase your staff, to increase your productivity. Lower investment in recruitment, again, that wage schedule, since you're paying them at the level that they're at, you know, you're able to, have more people on the job, but, not overcompensate them, I guess, if they're just starting out. Lower, let's see, creation of a career pathway. So once they complete the registered apprenticeship, they don't have to stop there. It really is designed to be tailored to your organization and to encourage individuals to constantly better themselves. If they want to take another step, like they were talking about supervisory roles, if they're looking to, get to that level, it definitely encourages that as well. Virtual training options, dealing with the current environment with COVID-19, that's definitely a helpful approach in today's climate, and it helps to close the retirement gap. So with that 1-to-1 ratio, your current staff, the ones that have been there for a while, really are passing the torch down to these new individuals that are coming in, and it keeps that knowledge in-house as they grow and learn the feel of your organization. So yes, it's definitely a win-win.
And we often hear people talk about succession planning, and this really is an opportunity to plan for that next level of employee while you're retaining the skill set of your current experts and passing that on. They enjoy it, the apprentices gain from it, and the company certainly benefits. So it's a win for apprentices, it's a win for the employers, it's a win for the community and our state. It gives the employer from that driver's seat the opportunity to fuel and feed their talent pipeline in the way that they need it, where it's meaningful, it's rigorous, but it's a learning and earning program that matters and has definite impact. You'll see the contacts for Michael Knaps, Reginald Ferguson, myself, Bianca Rutherford-Frazier, and Nellie Zichbot. And we would welcome you to communicate with us if there's something that we can share that would be helpful to you. We will entertain questions if you have any, and I do see that Kayla has posted the link to the United Way ALICE reports that I referenced.
As Dr. Flowers just mentioned, please go ahead and put your questions in the question box. We will be happy to answer them. I don't have any just yet, so I'm sure that these panelists would be more than happy to take any questions that you have about the apprenticeship programs.
While you're thinking about your question, I will mention that we can establish an apprenticeship for one individual at one company. We can establish an apprenticeship anywhere that meets your employment needs, and we would be happy to work with you. A lot of times companies that I have spoken with think they have to have a group of 10 to get started with an apprenticeship program. That is not the case, and that's the beauty of it. We can have one individual participate with that learning tailored just to you and to your company.
Okay, and I also do want to take this time as well. Once we do end the webinar, there will be a survey sent. If you wouldn't mind filling that out, it helps us to navigate through what we can offer next time that will better help manufacturers. So we do have a question. Does Louisiana have any industry apprenticeships? If so, which industry has been successful?
We're going to let Michael talk about those.
Could they further define industry apprenticeships? Because I mean, we have over, I believe we're at 66 programs now across the state, and it covers various industries. you know, I would say like pretty much all the construction trades, so electrical, carpentry, sheet metal workers, iron workers. We have some in healthcare. We have some that we've just recently started in IT. I mean, there's over 1,000 apprenticeable occupations that you can choose from. So really, it's almost anything you can think of. And
And
I mean,
she
they are.
added to that, Michael, she said, as in not registered.
Oh, not registered. I mean, the apprenticeship model. I mean, you can follow like a similar model and not be registered. We don't really track those at our office, so I'm not aware of any specific ones. So
I can,
Those are more like the ones that Bionica mentioned earlier with our welding program, where it's very
okay.
specific and short term and they're not registered, but we follow a similar model.
Mm.
and then you can also do that if you want to work with a college or a company wants to develop an apprenticeship and is not ready to launch, maybe they don't have all of the pieces in place to get a program approved, you can follow a model, like Dr. Flowers said, you can create a model that mirrors what's expected through the state or through DOL and just follow that. It is a little bit more lenient. We tried to make sure that our program was registered because it does give the students that transferability. They really get that additional credentials, and it just really helps with growing the program. And like Dr. Flowers also mentioned earlier, by working with a community college, we also can recruit within our student pool. So if a company just needs one or two guys, or not guys literally, but people to work in a certain position, we can go and recruit from within our student body. I think right now we have over 6,000 students. So they're all going to school for something. They all want to go and get a job in something, which is why, like Michael said, there are so many different industries that are becoming more and more interested in apprenticeships. We're seeing them in banking and healthcare and IT, and at the college, we do all of those things. So we'd be glad to create a program that would help you with that.
And one of the things that we see with the apprenticeships is that it's an opportunity all the way around, that the employer can get started. Some employers want to start with their own incumbent workers. They've identified someone in-house that they want to acquire additional skills and they want to promote up. So sometimes it's somebody fresh and new to the company, and other times they've identified one of their own incumbent workers for the opportunity that they want to give for succession planning.
Okay, and she's also asking, are there any pre-apprenticeships in Louisiana? If so, where? Pre-apprenticeships.
Yeah, so there's quite a few pre-apprenticeships across the state. So that component of registered apprenticeship, we don't really regulate it because it's more of like a direct interview component to an existing program. There are a few that I can think of off the top of my head. I know there's the multi-craft core curriculum, which is a pre-apprenticeship that kind of gives some some fundamental knowledge to go into the construction trades. We're currently working with Novak to create a digital media pre-apprenticeship to go into a registered apprenticeship we have with Arts to Work for multimedia producer or digital editor. And we're also in the works to develop an IT pre-apprenticeship as well.
And we're also working to build out our program into a pre-apprenticeship so that we can merge our dual enrollment program. And so students that are already on a technical pathway, they can go ahead and gain some of those college credentials a little bit earlier. And it gives that employer time to maybe allow them to do some of the technical skills, see them do that at the school, and do some of the lower level work-based learning things like doing job shadows and tours and things like that. And over that course, it's kind of like their interview process. And if they make it successfully through that, then they would be eligible to apply for the program in the fall.
And to me, an advantage of the pre-apprenticeship program is it gives the student, the future apprentice, a chance to really try out the occupation to make sure that they are sincerely interested in that pathway.
Okay, and I've got another question here. Can students below the age of 18 register as an apprentice, or does the child labor law prevent them from participating?
So actually, there are several exceptions as far as hiring a minor that registered apprenticeship allows for. So what would typically be considered, I guess, too hazardous for someone under the age of 18 to start. I think in most cases, someone as young as 16 could start. And I think that has to do with that one-on-one supervision and safety measures that are in place.
Reginald sent me a question, and Reginald again works with us. He is with Bentler Steel, and so he manages the apprenticeship program with them. And he said that manufacturing has become more advanced, and what steps are being taken to adapt to high-speed precision process controls. Example, things like automation, robotic controls, precision measuring, and power transmissions. So he would actually be the person that could answer this question. But one of the things that I will say is that's what helps this program, I think, be successful, is that we work so closely with our industry partners. And so when they're telling us exactly what's happening on the job and what they're needing, and right now things are moving very quickly, and we do need to adapt that curriculum. And that's how we learn as the academic provider how to adapt that curriculum. Like I said before, okay, he said from the academic side. So like I said before, when they come to us and let us know, hey, these are some things that we're needing across the board, they share that at our advisory board meetings. And advisory board meetings are the meetings where our curriculum is developed. So in those meetings, they'll vote on different things. That's how the industrial maintenance concentration became a concentration, because employers said, hey, we need power transmission. That was not something that we previously offered. Or like Bentler needs advanced PLCs. We did not have advanced PLCs before. So we do work with our companies and our advisory boards to develop curriculum that is going to meet the needs of our industry partners. And then in turn, we want to develop this relationship where you guys can help us out. Sometimes, you know, you guys are the subject matter experts, and we need instructors, you know, help us to get instructors that can teach some of these highly specialized skills and things like that.
And that's one of the advantages of being a registered apprenticeship, because you have access to funds for equipment, materials, and supplies to pursue those new areas of learning that you might not have been pursuing otherwise.
I hope that answered your question, Reggie.
Okay, well, I don't see any more questions in the question box. I do want to go ahead and just repeat that. Please go ahead and fill out the survey for us. Again, it helps us to tailor our content to the needs of manufacturers and see what you need more information about, especially during this time. We're trying to kind of do, you know, COVID-19 best practices. So again, just please fill out that survey. It'll be sent to you as soon as you log off of the webinar. I guess we'll go ahead and end, and thank you all for attending. We appreciate it. Please look out for another webinar from us next month. So thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.